Happy New Year everyone. We are only a few days into 2025 and there are so many predictions that we can put into the ether. Whether it's a general wrestling prediction, a prediction about a wrestler, or even about a whole company, there are many we can discuss. But I've had to limit it to 10, and also I've limited entries of wrestlers winning a world title unless it has major relevance. So Adam Cole and Willow Nightingale winning the AEW men's and women's world titles respectively, or Roman Reigns winning back the title were on the shortlist but did not make the cut as there were more suitable candidates, as you will see. Also, I will try to put most of the predictions on this shortlist into a short or TikTok video, so how I think they may come to pass is not wasted. And with all that said, here's 10 wrestling predictions for 2025. And if you enjoy the content, please make sure you like and subscribe and comment, as it helps with the algorithm and allows me to continue to do this for all of you. No honorable mentions this time. Let's get onto the list. Number 10, John Cena wins a world title. Shout out to Skiddy in the Discord and Twitch for this suggestion. We're starting big, but go big or go home, right? I don't want to go too much into this discussion as there will be a video coming out soon discussing this, but Cena overtaking Ric Flair's record of 16 world titles feels like something WWE would do. It feels like something that is almost nailed on, but my question would be how? Because beating Gunther feels like a very WWE thing to do. Who does he beat that doesn't feel like he's showing he's more important than the talent he's beating? Because he shouldn't really be beating Gunther, Roman, Cody, or even Seth. Maybe CM Punk? I mean, we'll probably discuss that in another video, but this does feel like a safe bet by WWE standards. We'll wait and see, as it might not be as guaranteed as some of us think under the Paul Levesque era. Number 9, a women's wrestler in AEW will become Grand Slam champion. I was going to put specific names in here, but I genuinely believe that there will be a Grand Slam champion in the women's division due to only needing to have won 2 of the championships on offer. I would have suggested men as well until I realized that there are 4 singles titles now, not 3, as I kept getting the continental and international titles mixed up and therefore was only including one of them. But literally, as I was writing this, I've remembered that they would have also needed to have had won the tag titles, making this 5 titles they would have needed to have claimed in their career, with no one yet to win more than 2 separate titles. Oh my goodness, I've just remembered the trios titles, lol. That's 6 titles they have to win, but this means 2 people have actually won 3 of them, not 2. Let me know in the comments who you think they are, and I might do a shorts about this. I went on a bit of a tangent. Come on, CM, don't be like AEW and ignore their women's division. Do better. Anyway, women's Grand Slam champion. No woman has really come close to winning both titles, and if they won one already, they haven't really come close to capturing the other one that's eluded them. However, a few names do come to mind: Britt Baker, Mariah May, Toni Storm, Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, Hikaru Shida, Riho, and besides the fact that Willow Nightingale deserves the world title at this point for the stellar year she's had and how great of a wrestler she is, I believe the 2 that stand out for me the most is Chris Statlander and of course Mercedes Moné. Statlander is homegrown, and where she was basically built to be the one to beat Jade Cargill before she got injured, then came back to beat her on her return, the same thing could happen for her to win the world title, hopefully without the injury. As for Mercedes, she has a great end to 2024, and with all the time, money and effort AEW have put into her and how well she has been of late, it almost feels like a guarantee that AEW at some point will, pardon the pun, bank on Moné to hold the gold. Although I think this deserves its own video and list, so stay tuned for the coming week. Number 8, a top guy from each company will switch companies. So for this one, I think we need to establish some ground rules and establish what a top guy actually is. So let's say someone who is at the top of their division, or at least in the main event scene. The other potential criteria is that they are not being utilized but could be in the other promotion. However, as that is probably the opposite of what a top guy is, as they are not being utilized, it likely doesn't count. So who do we think are possibilities for this? Well, I have no idea about contracts, but someone like Kevin Owens I think would be easily one of the top guys AEW could pull. He could easily go over there and be their top guy. I thought about AJ Styles, but with his connection with TNA, and I'm sure he still has time on his contract like KO, I find it unlikely. But then he has a New Japan connection, so who knows. I wanted to say Wardlow, but he's not really a top guy anymore, if he even ever was. But Swerve Strickland is definitely a top guy right now, so him going back to the WWE to be one of their top guys, I don't think is too wild. He ain't gonna leave though, I reckon. You know who I got in my head that could go back to WWE for one more run? Daniel Bryan. He's retired in AEW, but many people believe that he's not finished in the company from a wrestling standpoint, standpoint and even a storyline standpoint, so him leaving immediately doesn't look likely. However, him coming back, getting revenge on Moxley, then going off to finish his career at AEW, I just have it in my head that it could happen. Or if he puts his Cody Rhodes Homelander jacket on and sticks to the stipulation that he set, he can stay retired like he said he would when he lost the belt, but go to WWE to continue his career just like Cody did. Just a suggestion, there's others like Becky Lynch, who counts by the way. Rhea Ripley would be a fun one to move to AEW to be with her hubby Buddy Matthews, with Malachi Black potentially coming the other way. But hey, we will see. I'm likely very wrong on this one, but these aren't supposed to be nailed on predictions, are they? Number 7, Logan Paul tags with Jake Paul. I didn't say these were all going to be fun predictions, but fear not, Paul brother haters, the likelihood of this happening is pretty low. I mean, I was going to say at Mania, which is highly unlikely, but throughout the year it could happen. Now, this isn't a booking video, but let's try and see how we would get there. I've seen a few fantasy bookings, so let's run one of these by you guys. Did you hear what Logan Paul said to Mike Tyson after his fight with his brother?
I'll kill you, Mike. No, please, no.
So picture the Paul brothers going up against a team of like Mike Tyson and Stone Cold Steve Austin, or Tyson and Kevin Owens if he's a face, because the Paul brothers will definitely be heels. Even a Randy Orton or a Cody if he wants to be involved in the celebrity pantomime nonsense. And an in-ring veteran to call the match, and these guys just train up and follow the play-by-play. Doesn't need to be Tyson, could be any pair of wrestlers. Jay and Jimmy had interactions with them, so why not do them? Could be a brothers match, why not? Who the hell cares? Number 6, major wrestling returns. Some wrestlers are just out injured or on leave and therefore will hopefully be returning soon or at some point this year. This applies to Alexa Bliss, Carmella and Asuka, and we hope that they will return this year. The rumor mill is buzzing with rumors that Charlotte is ready to return from her injury too, but there are multiple massive returns that I think have a real possibility of happening, so let's look at some of them. CM Punk, no, he's not the major return that I'm on about, but who himself was once, actually twice, actually thrice, a major return. But during his segment with Seth Rollins mentioned Becky Lynch, so unless she finds herself in AEW somehow, I feel like her return is a pretty safe bet. I feel like another safe bet, and I hate to say this, is Brock Lesnar. Rumors keep swirling about that there are talks of him potentially coming back, with the door supposedly still being open for him to return. And as much as many people do not want him to come back, it is definitely a major return, even if the reasons are more negative than positive. Oh, but there's more. There's been more than one altercation, verbal and physical, involving Wade Barrett over the past few months, so imagine he gets back in the ring if he gets cleared for a match or to team with Drew McIntyre. He is the more out there suggestion, but the way the women's division is now, having her back would be a fantastic addition, and little references have been dropped a few times about her return. Daniel Bryan has already been mentioned in this video, and I have a shorts in the works regarding him potentially returning to WWE, but the big one for me is Big E. After the New Day segment, I just felt like it wasn't finished. All of the roster hating on the New Day is fine for now, but I feel like Big E needs to either get retribution or reunite with his New Day brethren. However, there were lines that were said that just felt like foreshadowing something we've wanted for a long time, and that's a Big E return, with Woods saying that he is never going to be cleared. That just screams that Big E is going to defy those words and return. And who knows, with Woods and Kingston getting a Barrett for him to reply with "I'm retired," just feels like a tag match in the making. Long entry, my bad, but there's another return that always feels like it's a possibility, and that's number 5. Vince McMahon finds his way back into wrestling. Vince has not been a part of WWE for the past 2 years or so. The more time that passes, the more unrealistic this becomes, and that is fine. However, there is always at least one new story throughout the year that speaks about Vince returning to the company, him potentially regaining some sort of power, him beginning a startup company. But likewise, there always feels like there is another scandal or additional information to a current scandal every year. And so this is a prediction that I think could happen, but I also think WWE will be wise to stay away from him. And besides drive-bys on Vince during some promos, he's been kept at arm's length from the WWE since he left, and I think that's how it should and probably will stay. But the fact we keep hearing things regarding him returning, I can't help but think he will find his way back into WWE. Now, the prediction is back into wrestling, which is actually a real possibility, as I've mentioned stories about him potentially starting a new company, and Vince's loyalists could actually support him and be a part of it. So to clarify, him rejoining WWE, especially how it is now and how it's treating him at the moment, is pretty unlikely. Him finding his way back into wrestling, which is the entry title, looking like a real possibility if he gets his grubby hands on the resources for a startup. I want to move on, so I'm going to. Number 4, dominant faction to all hold titles. There are multiple factions in these promotions, and although my initial point was a faction would win all the gold, there may be too many titles depending on the size of the faction, so I reckon at least one faction from at least one company will be dominant and will hold at least one title. Whether it's the Elite, the Bloodline, the Hurt Syndicate, Judgment Day, the Baddies. Wait, that's not a thing yet, but let's talk about it. These are some of the factions currently about, but will all members of a faction hold gold? Pretty sure this happened last year with the Elite. Young Bucks had the tag titles, Okada had the Continental title, and Jack Perry was the TNT champion. I'm sure they were all champions at the same time. Were there any others last year? Comment below. The Hurt Syndicate could do it possibly, but as one of their members doesn't really wrestle, I think it's unlikely. Or maybe a new faction will rise up and show their dominance. They can all hold a title, and even now at the start of the year, this has almost already happened. Right now the Death Riders all have some form of gold except for Marina Shafir, but she hasn't even wrestled since becoming part of the group. Actually, tell a lie, I've just checked and she is currently the Defy Women's Champion, but that's not an AEW title, and as it's not been seen on TV either, I'm not counting it. Plus, she actually has wrestled since joining Death Riders, but they have been in Defy and GCW, and that was in November, so it makes me wonder if they are even going to let her dominate the women's division. If Death Riders are looking to be this threat that dominates all of AEW, then surely they should be trying to bust the women's and potentially the tag divisions, as well as going after the other singles titles too, or at least have all their members holding gold. Only time will tell if this happens. But speaking of factions, we have number 3, Bianca Belair will run a faction as a heel. Ooh, I like this one. So it's been a running theme that either Naomi, Bayley or Bianca Belair are behind the beatdown of Jade Cargill. Bianca Belair was in the middle of a match when Jade's body was revealed, and Naomi and Bayley were already at the scene with all of WWE personnel when Bianca ran back there. But notice my wording, when Jade's body was revealed, so the actual beatdown likely happened off screen before the match started and was only just revealed. This means Bianca could have done the beatdown, then gone to a match, or she is the mastermind of it all. After the big reveal, she can recruit a couple of baddies into the group. My vote would be Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. See, it all ties together with the baddie's name. And they can dominate the women's division going forward. That Pure Fusion collective, but actually good. It doesn't need to be linked with the Jade Cargill angle. She could just turn heel and be heel with the Street Profits. Turn them heel too, sure, why not? Let them be a power faction with her bossing the women's division and the tag division. I think it would be an amazing concept if done right. The point is, she's been the main woman in makeshift teams in many of her battles, mostly with Damage Control, so allow her to have an actual team that's locked in and remove the shackles of being a face. Let her loose, WWE, and stop being cowards. Number 2, Cody Rhodes loses belt at WrestleMania. Shout out to Skiddy again in the Discord. He called Tiffany Stratton cashing in on Nia Jax for the first episode of SmackDown on Netflix, which I recorded on my CM-GRUNT TikTok channel, and his suggestion is that Cody will lose the title this year, and I'm gonna go one better and say that it's gonna happen at WrestleMania. There have been many rumors what Cody's gonna be doing at Mania this year. Something with Roman Reigns has been mentioned, but the name that pops up the most seems to be The Rock, and since there has been a constant rumor both of this and of Roman Reigns facing Jacob Fatu, I believe there's a strong chance if Rock's schedule is clear, he faces Cody. How we get there, I don't know, but if Rock is free for Mania, unless they do Rock versus Roman, then it has to be Cody Rhodes for the title, with the rumor being that Rock will put up his People's Championship. Although I actually feel Rock versus Roman is a higher possibility than Cody match, given where they are in the Bloodline storyline. But I believe Cody might be losing that belt to Rocky, especially if the People's Championship is on the line, as Rock is not losing that. There are different ways that you can go into and come out of Mania regarding the title match. Challenging and losing the title match, challenging and winning the title, successfully defending the title as champion, and unsuccessfully defending the title. And with 2 checked off the list as challenger, I see him saving defending the title successfully as his last one to check off of this list, because I believe he's defending his title at Mania and will lose it. Number 1, CM Punk rejoins Paul Heyman as a heel and gets a WrestleMania main event. CM Punk had minimal interactions with Paul Heyman. That was until Roman Reigns returned after Heyman had been attacked months earlier by the New Bloodline. Then Roman realized he couldn't deal with this New Bloodline alone, and Heyman returned with a friend who was here to help because he's getting revenge for what happened to him. But there's a catch. There's always a catch. And this one is that Heyman now owes Punk a favor. Though this is yet to have been revealed, I reckon that it eventually leads to both Heyman rejoining Punk and Punk turning into a heel. A favor is so broad and vague as well. There are so many ways that you could go about this. Punk has famously and publicly and repeatedly said that he's not here to make friends, he's here to make money, so this could easily turn into a story regarding that. Maybe everything that Seth and Drew has been saying is true, and it's only just come out when the favor is brought to light. But this whole story is about Punk turning heel as he rejoins Heyman. But what if he turned on Heyman instead? The way Heyman is a face right now would likely result in a lot of heat. And then there's the other side of the entry, a Mania main event. Paul Heyman could pull strings in the back and with the higher ups to get Punk as the number 30 entrant in the Royal Rumble. He could make sure that Roman has a match for the title before Mania, expecting him to win, and if he does, Punk gets the first shot, which would be the main event, because of course it would be. Hell, it might just be a straightforward Mania match against Roman, which Heyman gets the higher ups to make the main event. When I tell you, there are so many suggestions that I could drop, but I'll just say this: whenever the favor is revealed and whatever it is, I think it results in a heel move for Punk and likely Heyman, and I believe that they reform their partnership because of it, and I reckon it causes Punk to have a Mania main event out of it, or Punk will get injured before Mania again and none of this will matter. Ugh, I rebuke this. Happy 2025 everyone. And that's the list. Any predictions that you have, you know what to do. Drop them in the comments and like the video. Check out my TikTok at CM-GRUNT, and yeah, remember to subscribe, and I'll catch you in a bit.